I now call upon Dr. Dessler for 5 minutes of testimony.
Chairman Lowenthal, Ranking Member Stauber, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to discuss the threat of climate change with you. My name is Andrew Dessler, and I am a professor of atmospheric sciences and the director of the Texas Center for Climate Studies at Texas A&M University, located in beautiful College Station, Texas. Let me begin with the scientific basis for climate change. First, the climate is warming. Second, the scientific community's best estimate is that all of this warming is caused by human activities, mainly the combustion of fossil fuels. Third, we are on track to warm the planet in 2100 by about 5 degrees Fahrenheit above the Earth's temperature in the 19th century. For the global average, this is a huge amount of warming. Although you may personally experience much larger temperature changes over a day or over the seasons, these large local variations you experience cancel with opposite variations in other parts of the world. As a result, the global average temperature is very stable. To put 5 degrees Fahrenheit of global average warming into context, realize that the warming that transitioned us out of the last ice age and into our present warm interglacial period was about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. In other words, a 10-degree Fahrenheit change in global average temperature is the difference between a world covered by ice and today's world. Thus, predicted warming of 5 degrees is half of an ice age. This should compel our attention. It may be enough to significantly remake the surface of the planet. In fact, 2 degrees of warming that we have already experienced over the past 150 years is already turbocharging severe weather events and turning them into catastrophes. Examples include extreme precipitation events such as Hurricane Harvey, the 2021 Pacific Northwest heat wave, and the ongoing aridification of the U.S. Southwest. To be clear, climate change does not, in and of itself, cause these events. However, a new field of science, extreme event attribution, allows us to determine that climate change is making many of these events more severe and destructive than they otherwise would be. And we can be certain that the worst is yet to come. In the nonlinear world in which we live, every bit of warming produces more damage than the previous bit. Your intuition should confirm this. In a rain event, the first inch of rain typically does not cause any damage. However, the 20th inch of rain can be very destructive. If climate change adds a 21st inch of rain, that could turn a severe event into a catastrophe. To the extent that we don't reduce emissions to avoid future climate change, we must adapt to the changing climate. No one really knows how expensive this will be. Economists are split on whether this will cost a few percent of GDP, something that may not be too burdensome, or wipe out much of our wealth. One thing is abundantly clear, though. Most of the world's inhabitants do not have the resources to address the impacts of extreme weather, even today. For example, if warming temperatures require us to air condition large swaths of the U.S. that did not previously require it, who's going to pay for that? Installing air conditioning can cost thousands of dollars, and many people simply do not have spare resources to do that. Luckily, we have the capability to avoid much of the projected warming. The price of climate-safe wind and solar energy has been dropping rapidly over the past decade. Solar has dropped 90%, and onshore wind has dropped 70%, and batteries are presently experiencing similar price drops. Because of this, the U.S. can largely build a carbon-free grid by the mid-2030s that produces power at prices lower than we pay today. I should note that fossil fuels have other problems besides climate change. Air pollution from fossil fuels kills millions of people every year around the world. And I know many of the members of this committee are concerned about energy security. Let me be clear, fossil fuels are bad for our national security. Oil and natural gas are globally priced commodities. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, the price of natural gas spiked here in the U.S., despite the U.S. being a major exporter of natural gas. This is an example of why we will never be able to drill our way to energy security. As long as we rely on globally priced fossil fuels, we will be subject to political machinations of countries like Russia and Saudi Arabia. It is therefore fortunate that we can economically transition away from fossil fuels today. In conclusion, we are on the brink of potentially calamitous climate impacts. However, we also have the tools to solve the problem. The only question is which of these paths we will choose. Thank you.